So in the last video we looked at system variables which have one specific job and role to do. Really you need to be able to create your own variables and declare your own variables. So that's what we're going to look at here. So at the moment we're using a system variable to place a circle in the center of the canvas. Let's create a variable to control the size. So what we need to do is to declare a variable. We need to write the keyword let the variable exist, okay, and we need to give it a name. S for size. You could use any name you wanted. I could write my size, I could write the size, something that's going to give you a clue as to what the variable is doing helps. So I'm just going to use the letter S to keep it nice and simple, and I'm going to use the same value that we have down here. I'm going to now replace that value with an S. So nothing's changed. So I could, for instance, change it here. So you can now see that by changing it up here, it affects the value down here, which is great, but that doesn't necessarily make huge amount of difference. Why not just change it down here? Well, let's have a little look at an example where this might work. And you may get to start to see why a variable might or might not be useful. So I'm going to change that back to 200 and run that again. And I'm going to take the background out of here for now and only write the background once. You're going to see in a second why that is. And I'm going to very quickly put a little bit of a line of code in. Just to show why and how a variable is useful. So in here, I'm going to update that variable. So it's going to be start here, it's going to be 200. And then I'm going to go S equals 100. Okay. So now what's going to happen is that when I click on the mouse, it's going to redraw the circle over the top of the other circle, but with a new size to it. Okay, because the variable has been updated. Of course, I could keep doing that and repeating that, but for now, the idea is that you understand that a variable can be and is capable of being updated. I'm just going to get rid of that in a second because I think there's some few things we need to also know about variables, and this is how and where you write the variable. It's a thing called variable declaration. If I take that from the top there, okay, and copy it into here and write it, I should get an error. Yes. So now I've got the dreaded error. And it has no idea what's going on, even reading the variable. But basically, it can't find the variable because the variable only works with inside this function. It's what we call variable scope. Of course, if I took that variable out of there and placed it in here and run, now my variable will work because the variable works inside here. So learning to know when and where and how to use variables is really part of learning to write JavaScript and computer code in general, but this is by way of an introduction to the idea that the variables have scope. I'm going to pop that back in there, and this time I'm going to take that out completely, and I'm just going to go s equals 100 here. So now we can see that because it's been declared up here, it's now available here and here to be used. So I could do something like this with my variable. I can place it down here, and I can draw a second circle up here. I'm just going to make that circle the same as the variable. S and S. Okay, let's see what happens when we do this. So we get the first circle, which is being drawn at 100, 100, with the size of 100, and then down here we're drawing the second circle in the middle with the width divided by 2, the height divided by 2, and 100. But what I could do at this point is update that. And now that's only affecting the circle inside here, because this has been drawn once, and this is being drawn over and over again, and the background is being drawn once. If I was, and this is something you will be using to its full effect as we go along, take out the background and pop it in here, it will obliterate the top circle, because the background is now drawn over the top of the circle. So that's starting to think about how the variables work and variable scope.